just have one.
I just saw one.
Oh, no, the other one is the one I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, folks, we all set? This is the one from Jamel?
Yeah, that's from Jerome.
We still got 3 events going on. You know I'm only messing with you. Only three.
Okay, and he has their speech for each one.
Probably.
Folks, if we can move through this, I just want to move through the agenda, and then there's a issue that we are going to, I'm going to ask to go into executive session to discuss after we go through everything else. For Monday night, not a lot really. I don't have anything on local laws. And on the new ordinances, 116119 by Mr. Anani. This is an amendment to the provisions related to vacant buildings, and basically is intended to assure that the property owner properly secures the building and weatherizes it during its, during as part of the registration process and while it's vacant, so that nothing happens, etc. Yep. 116119, the first ordinance, the new ordinance. So this is an introduction. I mean, do you want to say anything?
Yeah.
At the risk of spending 5 minutes?
No, I think you said it all. This is just another measure to kind of be proactive. Very too often we don't know what's inside some of these structures until you actually go inside and look at some of the minor stuff, and then to try to correct it at an early stages before it becomes a nuisance or a public hazard. So again, this is just giving some friendly amendment to kind of allow building the codes to have an enforcer go inside the property to kind of look at any ways that we can mitigate some of the future problems that a vacant property might have. So we're making 3 amendments to it, and the first amendment is also to require a building registered vacant to be inspected by the city building department. The second one is to require condition of registration that allow all utilities to be turned off. Very too often when we look at incidents like this where there are individuals that might break into some of these properties, that sometimes can start a fire. There's other ways that just having that utilities on could be a public safety hazard. Another amendment that we also are making is just requiring that winterization or weatherization? Winterization, that's what we have. But
Yeah.
okay, of the vacant
I
property.
didn't.
Do you have including checking the roof drain? Because roofs kill these. The red X's.
This came directly from Rick, so, and I know Rob looked through it based on what he was looking for specifically.
Can we add checking the roof drain in that inspection?
Yeah, that could be. I mean, that would be part of the just enforcing the code as part of the inspection, because those would need to be comparable. That can be, made specific in the legislation.
Yeah, I think it needs to be made specific. So. Thank you.
So
it says all owners shall winterize said building and having necessary water, drain, and heating lines empty of all sitting water. Do you want more?
It's going to go to the law committee for any time.
Yeah, this is perfect timing hearing about this, because I just got hit with something over the weekend. There's a house in the 15th ward for 50 years did not have a CO because when the inspectors came, it didn't meet code. But the building's been standing there, and yet again, the landlord's trying to rent it out. So I just got notified. But I guess my question is, how long do we keep a building empty in the city? I mean, that's 50 years almost. It just blows me away.
It depends. I mean, if the owner wants to keep vacant, a vacant building has to stay on the registry until it's basically put back into use in some form.
Yeah.
But vacant, and when we did the amendments last year, we expanded the standards for registration, so more buildings. It's not just a derelict building, but buildings that are basically vacant or not occupied are also required to be on the registry. So
and there's also fees that's associated with it, so that kind of encouraged some of these owners that want to act. Specifically looking at it public.
Was this legislation administration's initiative or something that you?
Yeah, I've been in discussions with Rick LaJoy and also Rob McGee, just kind of look at some ways when you look at projects like 759 Madison Avenue, the Red Castle that has been sitting vacant for so many years. This is one of the things that we want to make sure that is addressed, just to make sure that everything is inside. You never know how sound a property is
Is
until.
that the one that somebody is actually?
Yes,
renovating?
yes, he is,
But
yes.
kinda-
Kelsey, he's taking kind of a little bit longer than expected, but again, you never know what's really inside of the property until someone could actually inspect it from the inside. So that's one of the things that we're trying to encourage.
So if it has a red X, so the interesting thing about this is if it has a red X, we don't expect the buildings department to go in because in some cases, isn't the red X indicating
This-
it's unsafe for anyone?
This should reduce the red X's. Some of the red X's end up there because the fire department can't get in to inspect it. So by default, they put the X on there. So, and that was my big gripe last year about it.
And also
So this
too-
should help reduce the red X's.
And that's another thing too with the red X is that some of those properties could be structurally sound, but it's just that no one could get into it, like the fire department.
So it's an
cannot.
unknown.
So therefore, it's just sending a signal that don't risk your life to try to save if it was to catch fire. But some of those properties sometimes could have a red X and still be sound and structurally sound.
So is Rick LaJoy on board?
Yes, Rick LaJoy's on board. He was actually one of the architects working with me to put this together.
All right.
Can I ask?
Yes.
When we have this come before the committee, if we can get an update on the vacant building amendments that we made?
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
He actually
we
sent
have-
it out. He sent a draft out.
Did he send a draft out of what?
Just an update about the progress since the legislation was passed. I don't know if you've seen it.
It was very,
I might not be on his
it was,
mailing list.
I mean, I think you're talking about something we received maybe a month.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe
I'm
for
off
that.
that.
And I just feel like
You want some numbers?
I'm looking at numbers and I don't understand why the numbers remain as low as they are, et cetera. So I would love to get a little bit more
Yes.
insight.
So we can do an update on, it really fits in, do an update on the amendments, what's going on with, as well as. Okay, so let me refer to law committee. On the ordinances held, nice to stop by.
Wow. Bring some money when you're supposed to bring money with fundraisers, by the way.
It's like this situation, so
Okay, on the remaining ordinances, I have no actions for Monday night. On the resolutions, the new resolutions, so 336119 is the adjustments for, and title change for legislative aid that we had previously discussed. So this is a pass, and I've asked to try to get this on the E&A agenda for next week also. 34 is by Councilmember Love. This is an honorary street renaming for...
Just Robinson.
I was like, did I see? Why did I?
Robinson.
Yeah, I know, for some reason. It is. I don't know why I put your name. That's okay.
You know we work together.
Yeah, but... Okay, this is by Mr. Robinson. This is an honorary street renaming for Vera Michelson. Did everyone want to be listed as co-sponsors of this?
Yes.
Okay.
I would like to just introduce this on Monday.
Okay.
And the following council meeting, her brother's going to be here.
Okay, that's fine.
So I would like to pass it that night that he's here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it'll be an introduction, and we'll just hold it, and then we'll do the presentation at the following meeting, and we can, and then in the meantime...
You want a
give-
presentational copy?
Yes, so we'll have that for the second meeting in June, and we'll list all members as co-sponsors. The next two resolutions are related to this, the June Pride celebrations. 35 is the Say It Loud Black and Latino Gay Pride celebration that In Our Own Voices puts together. And the 36 is the Capitol Pride celebration that the Pride Center puts together. These would both be passes for Monday. Does all members want to be co-sponsors?
Yes, please.
Okay. And these, just to remind people, I guess, we'll do the I'm doing presentations. Anyone is welcome to join at the event. The Inner Own Voices event is on Saturday. I don't have a time. Usually they'll give me a time as to when to do that. The Capitol Pride celebration, that includes the parade, which steps off around noon, and everyone is welcome to join in that. And then that's the festival in the park begins at around 1 o'clock.
That's
and
on Sunday.
That's
That's on Sunday. Yeah, not this Sunday, next Sunday.
What is it, June what?
June 8th is Black and Latino Pride in Washington Park, and June 9th is Capitol Pride in Washington Park. Capitol Pride has the parade that steps off at noon, and then the festival in the park starts at 1, and elected officials are welcome.
I have it.
Yes?
What time are you doing the presentation on June?
I don't know yet. I usually, Tandra gives me a date time as to when it's a good time. I'll just, let folks know.
Yeah, please, thank you.
Okay? And so we'll get some presentation copies for those. All right, then we have 2 MCs. One is by Mr. Robinson, which I don't know if that's been passed around, or has it been passed around?
Some of the movies that have.
Okay,
If
so
anybody would like it.
this will be 37, 61, 19. And it's a resolution recognizing and honoring Jazzy Addison. You want to?
Yeah, so recently the sorority Delson Theta had their biennial cotillion, and Ms. Jazzy raised over $14,000, and that goes towards scholarships and education opportunities for other members in the organization, and she was crowned instead 2019. And so I thought this was a way for us, for us to honor her.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
That's impressive.
So this would be a pass for Monday, and you indicated that she would be here?
Yeah, she would be here Monday.
So
He
we'll
said
do the
that
presentation.
he wants to make a few edits, but he'll get a copy of this by Friday to everybody.
Oh,
So we'll do a presentation. What we'll do is take this out of order, and we'll do this after we do our moment of silence and before we do public comment, so that we can do the presentation. And let her go. Okay. Did all members also want to be co-sponsors on this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. The second MC, I don't have, just giving you a heads up. So on the home rule that we did at our last meeting for the Beaver Creek project, that is, in a sense, coming back to us. So this is what happened. The legislation that was introduced was a brand new bill, and basically what should have happened is they should have introduced a bill that was an amendment to the bill we passed last year, which was enacted into law. I think I raised that issue at one of our caucuses, but we got distracted in a lot of other things. Assembly Central staff basically advised that the bill needs to be redone as an amendment to last year's bill rather than a separate bill. So there's going to be an amendment. It's going to be an A-print. And because it is an A-print and every time that something changes, we have to do a new home rule message on that. It's the same bill that we passed at our last meeting, except it's going to be in the form of an amendment to what was adopted last year. So, not too. Just want to, I'm anticipating that they're trying to get it put together and in print in time because of the, session schedule, etc. So, All right, any questions on that? Otherwise, it's the same thing that we did last year. And again, it's just an authorization. It doesn't do anything more than authorize us to take action at a later point. The project is all dependent on what we do at a later date. Any questions on that? On resolutions held, there are 3 resolutions on the agenda that are subject of committee meetings between now and our meeting on Monday, which could, potentially, depending on the committee action, would come up for a vote on Monday. So on resolutions held, number 4 and 5 by Mr. Robinson, one relating to the marijuana legislation, the other calling on the expungement of conviction records. Those are both on a public safety agenda meeting for Monday at 5:30 prior to our meeting. So those are possible to come up for Monday's council meeting. I will note that the marijuana bill that's referenced in item 4, resolution 2251-19R has been amended. So if you're looking at that, it's different than the one that's referenced there. And it's also much longer than the one that's referenced there. I think it went from 69 to 109 pages. The other one, item 11, by Mr. Kimbrough and Mr. Robinson, that is the housing legislation. That resolution relates to the what we call rent control and also the good cause conviction legislation. That's on a housing agenda for tomorrow. And depending again, that could come up for a vote at Monday night's meeting. Yes.
About the resolution, the marijuana resolution, the 2251-19R.
I'm sorry, which one?
The marijuana resolution?
Yes.
I had Jared compile a document that highlights and kind of summarizes some major points in that bill.
Okay.
So I want to know if other council members would like to have
Yeah.
that. So they
Well, just out of preface, that was the old bill. They came out with a new bill on Friday night that's added 40 more pages to the bill. And so I have tried to talk to the sponsor's office in the legislature to get some information, and just trying to weed through it myself, but it is very heavy. So I can give something that gives us a general gist, but it isn't like going to be full detailed of everything that's going on, just because it is.
So I suggest anything that you come up with as a summary would just share it with all members.
With everybody, yeah.
Will the bill change? Is the bill number itself changing?
It'll go from, it'll just have to be an A print, what we call it. It's just, the bill number is the same.
Okay.
It's now an A print, so if you go into and you pull it up online, the A print will come up, or you'll have the option of getting the A print.
So if we say we're supporting it, it's going to be the right bill that we're supporting.
You probably just want to amend the resolution to reference the A print.
Yeah, I'll amend, as long as Jamel's, that would make sense. We'll amend it to have the A print.
I thought you said it's in a B print.
No, it's
It's an
A
A
print.
print.
So the bill references the original print. The new version is the second version, so it's now an A print.
I just got a procedural question, because this brings up, in cases like that happens, and it's just say we didn't find out till Monday, are we allowed to, like, amend the bill at that, during the actual council meeting?
What do you amend the bill or amend the resolution? What do you mean?
Amend the resolution and put the right bill number in, I guess. It's just procedural. Are you allowed to do that?
Yeah, before you pass it.
Okay.
I mean, that's one of the things, and this is the different, in a home rule resolution, you have to reference the exact bill and the exact print, and the home rule message has a different force and impact than a resolution, which is just expressing the council's thoughts or position on a particular piece of legislation. I know in the past some members are concerned when you endorse a particular piece of legislation changes through the process sometimes, and it's, you're endorsing a piece of legislation which conceptually on the one hand, but you're not necessarily looking at, considering the full piece of legislation.
Thank you.
So, yeah, so, that's part of what happens. Were there any other, I think that's all I had on the agenda for Monday night.
Executive session.
Was there any other issues? Anything else come up? We did, I just want, leadership, we did talk about potholes, which,
Yes.
so.
In parks.
Having a general services committee meeting on the 6th.
Okay.
With Sergio and Frank Zioli.
Right. I think there's something down there that there's, the pothole situation is really kind of like overwhelming.
The worst. I've seen
So
it.
they're trying to get on top of that. I don't know anything specific.
Well, we'll put it this way, are they running at a 20% vacancy? Because I remember when we had our finance committee meetings, they were running for the year at an 18% vacancy, which obviously impacts their ability to fix potholes in streets. So that's a question I put to Sergio, and he hasn't answered me yet.
So that's an issue. And on just a notation on parks and with the rain and everything else, apparently has made it difficult to
Well, I
mow
heard that excuse.
It's not about potholes, Mike. Let me finish. I said that's on potholes.
What?
I'm talking about grass.
Oh, I thought you were
When you got a
talking
lot
about
of
potholes.
rain and wet grass, it's hard to mow it.
Well, I heard that excuse regarding potholes, and on the day I heard it, the state of New York was pouring new asphalt on the flyover to the airport, and that's supposed to last for 20 years, and the rain the rain excuse didn't come up. Like you did with the city
All right.
of
Well,
Albany.
you can grill Sergio. I mean, on the other part.
Yeah.
This sort, there was, in terms of they're probably behind on maintaining parks in terms of mowing and things like that.
Yeah.
They did right.
That's all I wanted to mention.
Okay.
All right. But with the weather improving, things will get back on top of things.
Will it improve?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Well, who knows?
Depending on the other night.
But if I can just make a comment.
All right. There's another topic I wanted. If we're all finished, the last topic. If we're finished with everything else.
Just one quick comment
Yes.
on potholes. The northeast weather has been the northeast weather for every year of my life. And we were always expected to get our streets fixed. I don't know why it changed in 2019 and 2018. So that being, yes, it did. It's gotten worse.
Okay.
And I think it's because of vacancies. I think that's the reason.
I
But
mean,
it's
the
gotta be
weather,
dealt
but
with.
the weather was especially bad with the freezes.
It's been the bad weather in the towns and suburbs, and they managed to get it
Well,
done.
Kathy, I have requests,
soon as Mike-
regarding New Scotland Avenue and the seating along New Scotland Avenue. I've made no fewer than 6 requests in the last year, going back to last spring, and they just don't do it. They just don't do it. And I don't, and when Dan DeLillo sat here and talked about, at a meeting that we had last spring, essentially he said, well, first we deal with the major routes, and then we go to the secondary routes, and then we, and we, like to get, whatever complaints, we take care of those complaints.
I make a motion
Yeah, folks.
we go into an executive section to deal with some personal.
No, I didn't say it was what it was.
Executive session.
So is there a motion to go into executive, members only, to go into executive session to discuss proposed litigation?
I'll second it.
And I'm going to ask Jared
All in
Stowe.
favor? Aye.
All opposed? Okay. And